Hey everyone, welcome to the webinar today. And sorry we're a couple minutes behind in beautiful technology fashion. Never fails. We had a little bit of issues, but we are getting good to go here. And unfortunately, we couldn't get Cindy's webcam, so you will see my face for just a little bit. Then I'm going to turn it off, and then you can see Cindy's presentation. So heads up on that if you see us popping in and out. That is why. But we're so excited for this webinar here today, and I know all of you are as well. We've seen so much excitement for this webinar. And Cindy has joined us in multiple webinars previously, so if you've had the privilege to join those webinars, you know you're in for a treat today, and we're so excited to hear her vast marketing knowledge that we'll get into here. But I do want to do a couple things first, like introduce myself. I am Stephanie. If this is your first time joining us on Travefy Academy, it's good to meet you, and we're so excited that you're here. I am with Travefy, and I am the Senior Client Champion Education Coordinator here at Travefy. And I'm going to introduce Cindy in a minute here as well, but I want to go over a couple things. I do just want to give a quick plug on Travefy Academy. Again, if you've been on these webinars before, you've heard this, so apologies that you're going to hear it again and you're going to be able to recite it here in a while. But for anyone new to Travefy Academy, it's really important. I want to share with you what our purpose is. So Travefy Academy exists to provide powerful education experiences and just really help fulfill our mission to power the success of travel professionals. So Travefy Academy does not focus on Travefy as a product. So you're not going to hear anything about Travefy software in this webinar or future Travefy Academy webinars as well. So instead, Travefy Academy is a free resource for all travel advisors to learn and grow your travel business. Also, all of our webinars are not commercial in nature to promote any organizations, nor does Travefy ever accept compensation for partnerships. So that's just telling you a little bit more about what to expect at Travefy Academy. And before I introduce Cindy, I do want to mention a couple things. One, this is being recorded. So if you have to hop off, you get a customer phone call, don't worry, afterwards you'll get a recording of this. So you'll probably get about an hour after we wrap up. Also the same, so if you know any colleagues or friends who wanted to join and couldn't, you can forward it along, or they'll also get the recording too. The other thing I want to mention is that we will have time at the end for questions to ask Cindy. So if you have questions, put those in that question box, and I'll be watching them, and that way we have time at the end to maybe answer some of those questions that you all might have. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and introduce our guest, Cindy, now. So to tell you a little bit more about Cindy and why we love having her on here is Cindy Williams is a travel industry expert. She's an advocate and growth consultant. She's a top travel industry motivational speaker, TV show and podcast host, and CEO of Careers on Vacation. So actually her YouTube channel was named in the top 20 travel channels on YouTube, and she has been featured as an expert on every major media outlet. With her inspirational and high energy style, Cindy has motivated thousands of travel entrepreneurs on their path to growth. And her innovative approach and open heart for sharing her proven models for success is really just shining a light on what is possible in the travel industry. And her straight to the point approach is a breath of fresh air for new and experienced travel entrepreneurs alike. So her company, Careers on Vacation, really exists to support aspiring and experienced travel entrepreneurs with the training, tools, and resources to launch, grow, and scale their travel business. They do this by creating a supportive community, media, products, and motivation that encourages their audience to embrace their love of travel, build abundant travel businesses, and really just live their best lives. And they believe that everyone can benefit when they follow their bliss to abundance and adopt a growth mindset. So thank you, Cindy, for being here and for sharing all of this with us here today too. I know we're going to learn a lot today during this webinar.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. I'm so glad to be here. I love talking travel. I love talking marketing. So it's like my two dreams come true today. So very excited. So guys, today we're going to be talking about email marketing. As Stephanie mentioned, we're going to go through a couple things we're going to learn today so you know kind of what's on the agenda. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about why email marketing is so critical. If you don't already have an email strategy in place, why you should. Secondly, the types of email marketing. A lot of people don't realize there's different strategies and different types, so we're going to cover that today too. how to create lead magnets. That may be a new term for you if you're new to marketing, but we're going to dive into lead magnets as well. We're going to talk about effective delivery methods for your email strategy and also common mistakes to avoid, right? No one wants to make mistakes. That's no fun. And all that to say, you guys can sit back and relax. You don't have to take copious notes. I really like you to be engaged in the content. So enjoy your cup of tea, your cup of coffee. You can get all of the notes for this session by going to wanderlessceo.com/email, and we'll send you a copy of the outline for today and kind of all the things that we're going to be covering. So I'll give you that link again at the very end, but again, it's wanderlessceo.com/email. And Stephanie, I think we give that to them too, right? In the email?
Yes, yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
so afterwards with that recording, yeah, we also have that link in there. So makes it easy for everyone.
Yeah, and Stephanie, you already did a beautiful job of explaining who I am, so I won't go into depth here, but I've been so fortunate enough to be in this industry for over 25 years, had my first $1 million sales year way back in 94, and my companies have blossomed. I, have my own award-winning travel agency and Careers on Vacation, of course, so I have a decade track record of multiple six figures in the industry, and that's why I love to share with you guys so much, because I know the abundant lifestyle is possible in this industry. But primarily, guys, besides being the CEO of Careers on Vacation and the #1 consulting company in the world for travel entrepreneurs, I'm just a traveler. I'm just like you guys, right? Like, I love to travel. We all start with that common thread, and that picture up in the corner in front of the wine barrels, the giant wine barrels in Germany, that's literally like me at like 21 years old. Like, that's how far back this journey goes, and I have never stopped traveling. I just love it so much. So I'm just like you guys. I just figured out the great systems through trial and error and 20 plus years of experience, and which is why I'm so excited to share with you today. So let's dive in. Email marketing is really one of the most important marketing tools for you guys. Why is email marketing important? And there's really one major reason. If you've been in marketing or have a marketing background, you probably know this already, but a lot of times if you're coming new into a travel business and learning so much, you don't know why email is really that important. So the reality is, when you have someone's email, you own that list. On social media, you might say, well, I have 5,000 people that follow me on social media, or I have 10,000 people on my Instagram. If Instagram changes a rule or Facebook changes a policy or something, guys, this has happened, right? So those of us that built pages years ago and built thousands and thousands of people following our pages, and then Facebook changed the rules overnight, and the Facebook pages did not mean as much anymore in the algorithm. And if you put in all that work or marketing dollars to grow that, and they change one policy, the impact to your business could have been devastating overnight. Right? So with an email list, that's the only true list that you actually own. When you have someone's email and you can have that direct contact to them, even if Facebook fell apart tomorrow, you would still have a business, right? So owning your own list is so critical, and that's why email marketing is still a cornerstone when it comes to your marketing mix. So let's talk about the benefits of email marketing now that we know why it's so important. First, you own the list. We just talked about that, right? Targeted and personalized content. So you can really target what you want to sell your clients. You can really target and personalize the content. So like you guys know, if someone just sends you a random ad, like, do you want to buy a pair of red shoes? Unless you're in the market for a pair of red shoes, you don't really care about that email. But the ability to segment and craft your messages in a certain way, where to your Disney people, you can send a Disney email, to your cruise people, you can send a cruise email. It gives you power over reaching people to make your marketing more effective, okay? The other thing is building relationships. This is a common rule of marketing if you haven't heard before. We call it the rule of 7. People need to hear, see, or interact with your brand 7 times before they ever take an action, right? We call it the rule of 7 in marketing. So warming leads up is a part of this process, building relationships. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. I could do a whole nother webinar on sales, but today we're talking about email. But just know this is a part of building that relationship with your clients. Also, brand recognition. They're not even going to recognize your brand until they've seen you 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So getting your brand in front of eyeballs is really, really important. Email is a good way to do that. Increase your web traffic. You can, with emails, you can have different call to actions, and so you can get increased web traffic, which can help your SEO and help in a different variety of ways. Again, I could create a whole nother webinar on that, but let's stick to email and be laser focused today. So what are the different types of email campaigns that you can kind of put together, and ones you may be doing and you don't even realize right now? So the most common one that people have tried or tested in email here or there is what I call the one-off email campaign. Like, what should I talk about with the people that are in my database? Let me send a one-off email about a particular problem, solution, or an offer. A lot of travel agents make the mistake of just doing offer after offer after offer, and that doesn't really work that well. So that one-off strategy sometimes can be effective, but not normally as the other strategies we're going to talk about. Then we talk about putting together a series of emails. So what an email series or a campaign series is a several emails that are automatically sent in a specific order to warm up your potential customer from a cold to a hot buyer. So you're putting a series of emails together to warm them up over a particular topic, or because you want them to do a certain thing. That's where the series comes in, kind of a well thought out, well planned out, well mapped out series of emails that's going to result in a particular goal that you have in mind. A lot of times that's to get the client to the finish line, to make an appointment and book with you. Sometimes it's to do an upsell or cross-sell. There can be a million different objectives on what you want people to do, but the point is a series kind of warms them up into the process. And then the last one are more strategic sales funnels. These are sequences of emails designed with a specific goal or purpose. Sales funnels are considered an advanced technique. They're highly effective, and as you grow into email and learning more about it, today's more of an introductory session on emails, but I mean, I have $1 million funnels I've created that have brought in $1 million of business into my company, right? So this is one where you have to graduate into sales funnels, but just know these are the different types of campaigns, kind of base level all the way up to the most advanced, that you should be aware in terms of the types that are out there, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about the buyer's journey. This is where a lot of agents will get frustrated. They think, I'm going to put out an email and I'm going to get 10 people that book a trip. Well, that's not how the buyer's journey works. And you guys know this. Think about yourself. Like, how many times you see a pop-up ad, or you look up something on the internet and then it pops up, or you get an email and then the company has to bug you about it for 10 times until you actually buy it. It's no different for our industry. There has to be that awareness stage of who you are and what you do. And then you have to and then they move into that consideration phase. Like, well, this is interesting. These people keep sending me stuff. I'm learning a little bit more about them. I'm considering making a decision about reaching out to them or potentially booking a trip. Then they move into that decision stage where they're like, I'm going to contact that person about my next vacation, or I'm going to follow their social media, or they do some type of action that they take a decision to engage with you in a way, shape, or form, okay? Which ultimately the goal is to get that profit. You help them with a vacation in exchange for you making an income, and that's the beauty of the last part of the pyramid. But this is where email will help you move through this buyer's journey a little bit faster if you do it effectively, okay? How can you build a successful email marketing campaign if you've never done it before? So I'm going to give you one of my simplest formats for building your first marketing campaign that works really, really well. Even if you're new to marketing, this will work for you. So the first step is to create a lead magnet. We're going to dive into that in a second. Offer the lead magnet, and how and where you can offer that we're going to dive into as well. And then send the lead magnet followed by your email series, your new email campaign, right? So this is kind of like the hook that kind of reels them in. If you think about it like a fishing pole, like you're going to hook them in and now they're in your fish in a barrel, and we're going to market to them and get them to convert. So let's talk about lead magnets, if that term is new for you. What a lead magnet is, I guarantee you guys have probably all participated in a lead magnet, whether you know it or not. You might realize it after today's session. But what a lead magnet is it's a freebie. It's something that solves a problem for your ideal client, right? Do you know the changes that are going on with Disney right now? Do you know the top 10 things you need to, don't get on a cruise ship without? Do you know, there's like a million of them, right? We work with our clients on a regular basis to craft some really amazing lead magnets, but you want to think about what is a problem that your client has and what's something you can solve for them that you can give it away as a freebie. right? And that is your lead magnet, okay? You provide it in exchange for the potential client's email. So they say, yes, I'll give you my email. You send them this free thing, right? And then they're in your system. It should be, your lead magnet ideally should be actionable or promise to deliver a result of some kind. So, you know, you guys want to brainstorm. There's so many different niches on here, right? Like there's people that specialize in cruises or Disney or Europe or adventure travel or over 50 travel, whatever your niche is. You want to be actionable in the way that you roll out your lead magnet, the way that you talk about it. What is them getting that lead magnet going to do for them? What's in it for them? Okay, so think about that and use that in your messaging. The title is the most important part. You need something that grabs them, that they want to have, that they're going to give you that email for right now. And it should establish the benefits and an end result to really pique their interest. Again, nobody wants a top 10, you know, travel destinations in the world. You got to be a little more specific with that, you know, in terms of like really getting a lead magnet that's going to convert with you. So let me let's walk through offering your lead magnet and places that you can do that. So once you have your lead magnet set up and you know what it's going to be, how do you get it out to people? This is where you can reach out to social media. And this works really, really well. So if you are, hopefully you're building pages in social media, maybe you have a group, maybe you have a YouTube channel, maybe you have Instagram, whatever social media you have, I want you to leverage that and start offering your lead magnets that will send them then over to a landing page. I'm going to give you some solutions for landing pages. If that's a new term for you, that can freak new marketers out. So I'm going to give you some info on that here in just a second. But the goal is get it out in social media. Your landing page should also, again, highlight the benefit and pique their interest. So you have the first kind of catch, right? Like, hey, come get my free thing. When they click a link and go over to what we call landing page, you want to highlight what they're getting, maybe even have a little picture of it so you're continuing to hold their interest. We know from data that we're dealing with 7 to 10 second attention spans on social media. So you have to get in there, reiterate what you're giving, and get that email. That's your only goal with offering a lead magnet, okay? And you can use organic traffic or paid advertising. A lot of people don't realize, like, the freebie way to do it is, yes, you go out on your social media page and you post, you go out on your Instagram and you post. If you have a big enough YouTube channel, you can put it in your community area. If you only have 30 people on your Facebook, though, it's not going to be a really effective lead magnet because there's only 30 people there. You might get 2 or 3 emails. You need to use paid advertising if you want to do it at a better level. Then we get into things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Again, those could be each of those could be their own webinar, but if you're at least familiar with how to do paid advertising, a lead magnet is a great tool to use for paid advertising if you haven't grown your group to the level where it has thousands of people in it yet. Okay, so there's 2 roads to get there. It just depends on where you are in your journey right now. There's no bad answers, just know there's two paths to the same place. Okay. The next thing you want to do is really compose your lead magnet. So I want to give you a few tips on this. Write to the potential customer as if they're your friend. I see a lot of bad lead magnets where they look over corporate, I guess is the way I would explain it, or too impersonal. Your brand is your personality. What is your brand personality? Okay, talk to people like they're people, because they are. You're trying to connect with people. So I want you to really take that approach as if you're talking to a good friend, okay? That will serve you better. And in test after test, everything we do marketing wise in our business and everything we teach clients, we test in our own agency. So I can tell you from years of experience, this makes a world of difference. Authenticity is so key in marketing. You also want to limit the number of pictures. A lot of people don't realize this, and they'll have these big grids and all these crazy pictures. A lot of times those using too many pictures will get flagged as promotional, and also using a lot of words in your picture on your lead magnets too. So you want to keep it simple. Keep your messaging, or what I call your copy in the written part, one nice picture. That's really what you want to focus on for a good, clean lead magnet. And don't hard sell in the lead magnets. You want to do a soft sell. You're not going for the book with my company right now, right? It's more like, here's my freebie thing, grab it here, or, just kind of inviting them to grab it And if it's something they want, boom, you got it. So don't try to sell too early. That's another mistake that people will make with lead magnets, and it turns people off. That's not the goal. And don't be afraid to use emojis or GIFs, okay? Those are two options for you that bring attention. Everybody loves emojis. Everybody loves a good GIF. Those are always fun. And also think about, does it follow the brand? You know, I have a lot of travel agents who've worked with me, and they're just funny. Like they've been able to add comedy into what they do. And then I have other ones who have a different approach, but they can find emojis or GIFs that work with their brand, and that's fun. It draws a lot of attraction, so don't be afraid to use those. So we talked earlier, I mentioned giving you some resources for you know, delivering your lead magnets. Once your lead magnet is created, there's some different platforms maybe you already have one of these based on how you're sending your emails out today. So you want to pick an email platform. This is where you can take your list. If you're using a CRM, you can take your list and put it in here. If you're not using a CRM, wherever you keep your list, you can plug it into any of these companies here, and then you can create your email templates on there. So once you have your lead magnet, how are you going to deliver it? You got to pick one of these platforms to use. And some of them are actually free until you get to a certain number of clients. Some of their prices go up as you get 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. I have 36,000 in my database at the moment. So it gets a little more pricier, but you can afford it as your company's growing, right? So MailChimp is a good one. I think they still have under 1,000 for free. So just to pass that on. Some platforms cost rise as lists go, as I just mentioned, and some platforms are more likely to be flagged as promotion. So you can do some vetting and research and see which one's going to be the best fit for you based on where you are in the world, you know, US or overseas. It just depends on where, you know, which ones are getting flagged or not in your area. So you can do a little research along the lines of that and find a good fit for you. So once you have delivered the lead magnet, what do you want to do after that? You've given them the freebie that you promised. Now what you want to do is follow up with some additional emails, okay? This is that warming up process. So how often? This is one of the most common questions I get in our mastermind. How often do I email, Cindy? So once to twice a week is ideal, no less than 2 times a month, okay? So you have to keep your audience engaged. And this is such a good time to be talking about email because so many, I just did a live stream this morning right before this webinar, and we were talking about, you know, some people have said, I'm just going to shut my marketing off till stuff reopens. That is the worst thing you guys can do. You never shut your marketing off. Do you need to adjust your messaging based on what's going on in the world, based on, you know, the social things that are going on, COVID that's going on? Yes, of course you need to adjust a little bit, but you never turn off your marketing. You never stop staying top of mind. You never stop warming up your audiences. So you still want to be emailing right now. So if you stopped, I want you to restart immediately. And if you've never started, I want you to dive in for sure. One hard sell for every 3 to 5 emails. Majority should position you as an expert providing value. And one of the things you can tell if you're doing email well or not is all of those platforms I just mentioned have stats. They have statistics you can check. So you can see the open rate. You can also look at your unsubscribe rate, okay? If you're getting a high number of people unsubscribing, you might be doing too much hard selling. Right? The goal of emails is to stay top of mind, position yourself as an expert, warm them up, and then you throw in an offer here and there. That's a much better relationship where people are going to trust you. Remember, people buy from people that they love, that they like and trust, right? People buy from people they like and trust. They don't have to love you yet. They will eventually after you book a trip and you do an amazing job, but they have to like and trust you before they're going to give you a credit card. So what can you do in those emails to make them like and trust you? And then you sprinkle some offers in. That is the most effective way. A simple video or podcast with a simple call to action to watch or listen. That's another one. We have, you know, so much training on video strategy that's out there if that's new to you, but those are different ways that will kind of help engage your audience at a different level. Everybody's at home right now. Everybody's watching video. Video is everything in marketing. And then a link or a blog post with information. These are different things that you can do for those warm-up emails. So think about which of those might be a good fit for you and how you can put some strategy around following up with those additional emails, okay? And then end with a soft call to action. A good way to do that is to put it in your PS or have a button built in. A lot of those templates with those companies that I showed just a moment ago, they'll have templates where you can add a button that says schedule a consultation or, get a free consultation, whatever value. You can just have a soft call to action, and once they see that on a regular basis, they're going to take action at some point. Common mistakes. Too much hard selling turns buyers off. I kind of touched on that a moment ago. You want to avoid that. And then too many pictures or cute layouts can be a turnoff. Too promotional and less personal. I like to follow the same system when we talked about, introducing your lead magnet. The same thing applies in email. Have one nice, clean, beautiful photo, and then have your copy, and then you have your light, gentle call to action, right? That's a good format for basic emails. If you're new to emails, start with those 3 things, and that will really help you. So let me repeat that. Nice clean picture, not too many pictures, clean ad copy that is personable. Remember, you're talking to people, and then have your call to action. And most of them are going to be a light call to action at the end. That's the 3-step formula I would give you to kind of have the best email if you're new to email marketing. There's more strategies down the road, but that will get you kicked off for sure. And then as your list grows, where a lot of people make mistakes is they don't segment their marketing into buckets. So when I have people come to me and they're like, Cindy, I have a database of 20,000, here's what I'm doing, and I look at what they're doing, a lot of times I can, in the first phone call, tell them what they need to fix to make thousands of dollars more every month in their business. And this is one of those things that's on my checklist for you experienced agents. If you have 5,000 plus people in your list, in your email list, you should be segmenting them into different buckets. Who buys luxury? Who buys family? Who, there's a whole different way, there's whole different things you can set up with buckets. And, I could have a whole nother show on that too, but think about how do your people buy from you? Are they buying for a family? Are they buying for luxury? Are they empty nesters and they're not restricted by certain dates? You can create different email paths for each of those buckets. So I know I'm getting really heavy and going down the rabbit hole. I don't want to overwhelm you newbies that are listening, but for those of you who are experienced, you need to think about that. Are you segmenting your marketing by buckets, by who buys what in your list, okay? And not sending periodically enough. People will forget about you. You need to stay top of mind. Just like I said a moment ago, don't ever stop your marketing, right? Always be checking in with your clients no matter what's going on, even if it's just, hey, I'm thinking about your family. I hope everybody's healthy. Here's a cool checklist on, staying healthy as your home, right? That is still staying top of mind, right? So think of things that you can send out to always be on a periodic schedule. Decide what your schedule is going to be and make sure you stick to that and commit to that for your email marketing. Bad subject lines are another one I see a lot. We do a lot of dissecting with the clients that we work with, and sometimes their emails are beautiful and they're perfect, but no one opens them because they have a bad subject line. You got to get something that grabs people. So think about using engaging subject lines that are going to make people open that email. And you guys know, if you've watched any of my webinars before, I love a good quote. So the secret of getting ahead is to get started, getting started, Mark Twain. If you don't have email in place, how are you going to start? Hopefully this is giving you some great tools. If you do have email in place, do an audit of yourself based on what we talked about today. What can you change? What can you upgrade? What can you tweak? Because this is a cornerstone for marketing in every climate, especially when things are a little bit slower. The ones that are winning, my clients who are still making sales every day, right? They are on top of their systems, and having an email system in place is one of those important things. So I would say dive in. What are some things you guys can do right now as you get started? So one, get started, right? Draft out that series of emails. Draft out that first email that you want to send. If you're experienced, think about segmenting those clients into buckets. And then I want you to experiment, test, and track your results. This is another area travel agents go wrong. They throw out emails, and then because they don't get a bunch of sales, they think, oh, that was horrible. No, go back and look at your open rates. If people are opening it, then that's stage one. You made a connection there. If you have too many unsubscribes, make an adjustment, right? Maybe you're selling too hard. So you have to experiment, test, and track. Every niche is different. Every market is different. Your brand may speak to certain clients. Maybe you are not attracting the right clients. You have to figure this stuff out, guys, by testing and tracking results. You have to manage your business by numbers. And this is the number these are the numbers to pay attention to when it comes to email marketing: open rates, and also unsubscribe. So pay attention to those and just tweak. Remember, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So if you want to get really good at marketing, don't forget to do this final step of experiment, test, and track your results. And then check out our free masterclass. So we've talked about email, which is just one of the 8 different ways that I talk about to monetize marketing in your business. But I do have a free masterclass for everyone today. You can go to wanderlessceo.com/masterclass. And this is my 5 shifts, the 5 things that you need to do to create a 6-figure travel business and beyond. In the masterclass, we talk about everything from monetizing to the steps that you need to take to really set yourself up for the most success in this industry. So it's free. It's less than an hour. It's around 50 minutes. So again, get another cup of coffee and take that. We're running those sessions daily right now. So just log in and it'll put you into the next one that's available. So that's a great free resource. And then connect with me. I have lots of other cool tips and tricks for you guys. These are all the places you can find me. I do a live stream every week on my Facebook page. So definitely check that out. Stephanie's going to send you all the links to this stuff. And then on YouTube is where we do some secret content. So that's a great place to subscribe to. And you can find us, our podcast and streaming and all that good stuff. So I love to connect with all of you. So whatever you like best, pick one of these and decide how we're going to connect. So Stephanie, I'm going to turn it over to you to tell me what questions are coming in, since I can't see them over on that side.
Oh, no, yeah, there's all kinds of questions. There's so many. So
I love questions. Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. They're really good too. So one, there's a couple people who kind of asked the same question a little bit differently. So they said, well, first I'll start with this one from Robin, is can you send current and past clients these emails? And she was talking about that when you were talking about offering like lead magnets. So basically talking about, the lead magnets are getting new people, but what can you do for people who are already your clients?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. So when I was talking about segmenting, this is exactly what I'm talking about, Robin, and others who've asked a similar question. You want to have a different series for prospective clients than you have for repeat clients. So think about, do those same steps. Like, how do I want to keep my recurring clients? We call that recurring clients. How do I want to keep them warmed up, and what information can I send to them? Sometimes there will be emails that you can send to your whole list, right? And then sometimes there will be ones where you want to say, hey, happy holidays. Thank you for supporting my small business. I wish you well this holiday season. Or thank you for your business. It's been a crazy couple months in the travel industry, but we hope your family is well. And thank you for your business in the past. We look forward to rebooking you in the future, kind of thing. So yes, just Robin, think about what you could say to your, and here's a great thing, recurring clients are not a new sale. They're going to do business with you again, but you want to stay top of mind. So think about what you could say, what value you can offer, the things that you can do for them right now, and to put that into a series. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that's actually really helpful because that's like, so Elizabeth also asked a question similar of that, but she also said, not sure what to write or send. That doesn't sound like you're trying to sell them. So I think what you were saying is perfect about just, and this is actually a good time too, because there's so many questions around what is travel looking like? What does it look like in the future? All that.
Yeah, I love that. And let me take it a step further. I'll give you like some examples, because we have a gazillion sales funnels, right? Because we have our agency and our other companies. So what would you say to your friend, right? Like what are your friends asking you, right? I have friends from Michigan calling going, what's going on with Disney? What's going on with cruises? What's going on with this? Can I go to Hawaii? What's this quarantine thing I'm hearing about? Do an informational type email that says, in case you're curious, here's what we're seeing, or in case you're curious, these are the open dates. Wanted you to be aware. If we can be of any help, just let us know. You're not hard selling. You're just saying, hey, and you're kind of positioning yourself as an expert in that type of email, because you're like, look at everything I know. There's a lot of moving parts right now, right? So those are good ways for everybody. And if you're worried about coming off too salesy, then make your call to action, follow us on Facebook, follow our YouTube channel, follow our whatever, whatever you have built out in terms of your social structure. You can make it one of those, like, we want to keep your family informed through this time. Feel free to follow us over here. So that you're not asking them to do anything, but what we do is we just have a nice little button at the end that says, if you'd like to schedule a consultation, click here. But it's in your copy. It's all in your copy and your messaging, and getting really comfortable with the voice of your company. And it comes over experience. That's why you guys have to jump out there and start doing it, and then do the testing and tracking. Watch that.
Yeah, it's so true. And that is such a good thing that so many people have questions. There's so many questions on that. So another question here from Wendy is, where do you find GIFs that are royalty free?
Well, on social, I think, you know what, I have Outlook 365, and on that one, they have ones that are preloaded in there. And then I would double check on those with those email providers to see if they have some of them built in. I think some of them do.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really good to know. And a little bit on that too, some people were asking, I want to find the exact question. Do you need to have permission to send people emails?
Yes. So that's why the lead capture is really, a lead magnet is a really good way to do that, because when they select, yes, I want this thing, they are opting in. So when you're doing a lead magnet, they're opting in. That's what the verbiage will say at the bottom of your lead magnet. And it'll say, okay, we're going to send you, emails. They can always unsubscribe, but yes, you should be opting your people in to follow the regulations.
Perfect. Yeah, that's really important to note. So another question here from Jillian is, I'm curious about the best way to go about building an email list for a newsletter when I have not had one in the past. How should I approach my clients about opting in or opting out of this new newsletter I'm planning? So that actually kind of goes into this question pretty well, of how do you get started once you're going to start something brand new?
Yeah, so this is, and I want to, newsletters are tough, guys. So I coach hundreds of people every year, and I look at hundreds of newsletters. And I have to say, it is pretty rare to have a newsletter that gets the open rates that you think it's going to get. And so a lot of times I ask my clients, is it worth the time that it took you to put that newsletter together? A good open rate on a newsletter is like 20%. That would be considered really good. So if you look at your database and go, okay, I have 100 people, 20 people might open it, 7 people might read it. Is it worth 13, 14 hours of your time to put that newsletter together, depending on how extravagant your newsletter is? So I'm just putting that seed out there, not to, some people have great newsletters and they work very effectively. If you have a passion for writing, go for it. But if you're feeling like doing it because you want to check a box, sometimes newsletters in the marketing mix, there's so many more things. If you give me 10 hours of your time a month that I can teach you how to do, that will be way more effective. But to answer, the genesis of the question was, how do you get them opted in? It would just be an email to say, hey, we launched a new newsletter. And actually, if they're already opted in, you just send them the newsletter. You don't have to have a big announcement. You can just say, hey, we just launched a newsletter. Here it is. If they're already opted in on your list, you just send it to them. And then watch the open rates to see if it's worth your time to continue to do that newsletter.
Perfect.
Same thing
That's
for
great.
a blog or a YouTube channel. You can roll them out in any of those ways.
Yeah, that's what someone else actually asked. I think there's a couple other questions like this, is do you find biweekly or monthly newsletters effective to grow your business? And
I don't do newsletters at all. So
yeah,
good question. Like and I have a whole team of writers that works for my company, right? Like if I
yeah.
wanted a newsletter, we could have one. We have a blog, we have a podcast, we have we have everything, right? I just over the years have watched rates on newsletters, have tested them in multiple different ways. I just don't think they're as effective as other things I can spend my time and money on. So I don't do newsletters. Email marketing, yes. Sales funnels, yes. Lead magnets, yes. Newsletters are a lot of time, a lot of energy, and like I said, there's a few people that do them really effectively. But honestly, I would convert it to a blog. You're going to get better SEO, kickback for your results that you do there. So if you love to write, I would consider a blog before I'd consider a newsletter.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, is doing that in the blog. Because yeah, it feels like some of those they don't have meaning behind it and you're just trying to get something out once a month or every other.
Yes.
So that's really
It
good point.
becomes a big chore, like of all the
Yeah.
things you could do. Yeah, for sure.
So another question here was, and you kind of answered this a little bit, is what is the best free email platform? And you mentioned MailChimp. We use MailChimp at Travify too, but would you say that's probably your favorite for the free one?
Yeah, if you're US based, I like MailChimp because they give you, and here's the thing, MailChimp used to be really easy, like it was not confusing to use. They added all these recent products and services, which I know why they're doing that. They're trying to maximize their business model. So I'm just going to preface it by saying, yes, they're still the best in terms of what I like for templates, and you get that free as of the time of this filming anyway. They were doing free up to 1,000. But it is a little confusing when you sign up. So you don't need all that extra stuff, guys. Just go for that like email platform. You don't need all the other stuff right now. You're probably, can graduate to those other things later, or there's different tools. Depending on what your objectives are, there's different tools for different things. But MailChimp for an email, third-party email platform, yes, is a good choice.
Awesome, perfect. Yeah, and there's a lot of really lots of great software out there. So this is a question from Thomas, and it's kind of talking about all the different buckets that you can segment your clients in. He asked, is it a good idea to have a client in segmented in more than one bucket? So if
Oh,
that is
yeah.
possible to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, I have clients who book Disney, but they always stay top tier, and they also do African safaris. So they're going to fall in my Disney bucket, and they're also going to fall in my luxury bucket. And yeah, so clients can, whatever box they check. So when you set your buckets up, you want to think, how do people buy? And also, what type of clients are they? Are they empty nesters? Are they luxury clients? So like we usually have like 8 to 10 buckets we recommend for our clients that they set up. And then yes, they can be in any number of those buckets and not in others. So on the opposite end, if you have that luxury client that doesn't have kids and wouldn't be caught dead in Disney, you don't put them in your Disney bucket. They don't care about your Disney marketing. So you keep them in the luxury and you keep them in the empty nester bucket, right? So yes, great question.
Yeah, that's perfect. And so the next couple questions are kind of to get the ideas juicing, flowing here. Is the first one is from Robin and mentioned, I'm struggling with the sales funnel idea for selling travel. Can you elaborate on how that works? So maybe like some ideas that they can do, which you did touch on some of those, but like kind of where to get started on that basically.
Yeah, so with sales funnels, you want to get started with the end. What do you want people to do? Do you want them to, what is your funnel for? Is it to get them to book? Is it to get them to cross-sell something or upsell something? Is it get them to follow your YouTube channel? So you start with your objective. What do I want? What action do I want people to take at the end of this? If it is make an appointment with me, then you can start building the architecture. One of the things we do in our like goal digger retreats is we have everybody, we give them a map. I mean, you guys could just get a blank piece of paper and put little boxes on the paper to go, what do I want my customer journey to look like? So that's a good way to start strategically. And I don't know everyone's different niches, because someone who sells Disney is going to be different from someone who sells cruises. But just like we said in the email section, you want to have one selling email to every 3 warming them up emails and positioning yourself as an expert. There's so many different good ways to market, but I want you to think about, what's the first email they're going to get from you? And then what's the second one? What's the third one? Think about their seat that they're sitting in, getting to know you, learning about you. How do you want that to unfold in this weird virtual relationship that you're creating? So think about how you're building this bond. Keep it real personal. Again, like you're talking to a friend, and hit on topics that they care about. Okay, so that's a good place to start. I mean, funnels is something that literally we work on in our 12-week and our year-long masterminds that we do. It's a lot of, if you haven't done it before, it can feel overwhelming, but that's where I would suggest that you start. Map out the customer journey and start there.
That's a great idea. Yeah, just start from the end and then go in there. That's
Yes.
cool. And
So what do you want them to do? What's the action you want them
yeah,
to take? And then back it up to the beginning and go, okay, what's the journey that's going to get them to that goal?
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's perfect. And kind of on the idea of creating, like, what am I going to create? What am I sending? We had a lot of questions also on email subjects. And I know those are tough. I mean, we have them with Travefy, and it is so hard sometimes coming up if you're, if you have writer's block. So could you give us a couple examples of good email subject lines or what
Oh
you
yeah.
want to
I
include
love
to
like
make
I'm
it
a
good?
marketing yes, I love this. I could
Let
do
us
this all day.
know.
I I love I love a good subject line. In fact we're working on creating like lists and lists of these for our clients right now, but I'm totally happy to share like a few with you guys. It needs to be something that is going to make someone take action like right now. So for example, a good one for right now might be, do not go back to Disney unless you know this. Do not, or the thing, need to know before Disney, don't make these mistakes that people are making. People like when you do like believe it or not, we've tested this a million different ways and twice on Sunday. The fear ones, people have that fear of missing out or the fear of what don't I know, that will make people click before anything else. Because if you do like, oh, top 10 beaches in the world, like, yeah, I mean, maybe I want to care about that today, maybe I don't. Versus if you just switch that around and go, as you're booking your honeymoon, avoid these beaches at all costs. The beaches you need to avoid at all costs. So if you sell a lot of all inclusives or things like that, you can kind of flip the narrative that way. Let's see what else is going on right now. Why you would be crazy not to book with a travel agent as travel returns from COVID. And that's like so true, right? With the
Yes.
USA Today and the Forbes and like all of the things with Expedia and Costco's, lawsuits and crazy stuff that they have going on right now. So that's a really good one that we're using. Like, you would be crazy not to use a travel advisor, whether it's us or not. So again, and you'd say, well, why would you say whether it's us or not, Cindy? Well, because it's just a tagline. They're going to click and then they're going to get to know me, and why wouldn't they pick me, right? So is that helpful, Stephanie? Does that give you a few
Oh,
to
yeah.
launch off
Yep.
from? And
Yeah,
I'll
I
give you
like
another
that.
one for the Disney people out there, because I love Disney. I'm always thinking about Disney. But like,
Oh,
the don't return. Oh, well, let me hang on. Did one the other day and it was so good. I can't remember. Um, what you need to know about Disney's reopen. What you need to know about Disney's reopen. Oh, I can't remember. I can't put it together. I might have to put it out on a forum later. But we have some. Just think about, guys, like the things that they don't know, that the average consumer doesn't know, and how you can spin that into that line that's going to make them click.
yeah. No, that is so smart. It's almost the way that you like when you write blog articles or when you're scrolling through social media and you want to click on a blog article because it's like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
it makes you want to open it. So yeah, that's cool. And especially with Disney for sure, is especially since they are getting ready to open, but there's still so many questions, and who
Oh
better
yeah.
to know it than the expert of selling Disney?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
here's one that was similar last week we used. Disney's reopening, but you can't get reservations.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, what? Like, you're telling me it's reopened, but I can't get reservations. They're going to click on it, and then you're going to tell them how you're going to solve their problem.
Yep. Oh, that's a
Yep.
great idea. Yeah. I love that. So another question here. This is from Celine, and this is a really good one too about your email address. Basically, so she said my regular Gmail signature gets flagged a lot. It goes into spam. Is there any advice? She said I do add my credentials in the signature, but is there anything that you can help with so things don't go into spam?
I'm wondering if it's because she has a picture in her signature or like some type of graphic. That might be. I would test a couple emails without it, or test it with a simple signature to see if it helps with the spam rating. Also, don't use things like too many exclamation points. That will throw it into spam. Avoid the word free. That throws stuff into spam. Those are just a few off the top of my head that we've learned over time.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, because and what did you say to go to? If is there somewhere you can go to check your spam or to check if you're
Yeah, you can go. So all of the platforms will have like an analytics area, kind of like when you're looking at the open rates or you're looking at the, unsubscribes, they'll have the same thing. It gives you a spam score normally. So you can see sometimes they give it to you right before you send it, and they'll say, oh, this one looks kind of spammy, and you can adjust it before you send it out.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah, that's a good one to know. And yeah, those keywords, exclamation points, those are all really good tips there. So another question here on kind of moving into landing pages. So for those lead magnets, so
Yeah.
Darcel asked, what is the best landing page platform to use?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of them out there. It really depends on how you work from a technical standpoint. There's ones out there like leadpages.com is a good one to start with. I think that one's pretty basic, but it will at least get you started with doing your first landing pages, and it's a pretty simple one to understand. There's ones that get more advanced and more advanced as you grow, but that would be a good starter one where I feel like it's not going to overwhelm people that are new to the lead magnet process.
Yeah, and doesn't MailChimp has that too, don't they? Some of the email they'll have.
They do, yeah, that's one of their additional features that they have, and MailChimp will allow you to download your current list as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say, because yeah, some of them will work together, so
Yep.
make it good there. So another question here from Latasha. So this is a really good one again, going off of our getting the idea spinning here. Is she said, I'm not the best writer. What is your opinion on using vendor content for your emails?
Okay, so the here, what was the young lady's name?
Latasha.
Latasha. Latasha, what you just said to me is a mindset question. It's not reality. So if anyone who follows me knows, I am really big on training you guys to think past what your perceived limitations are. So I want you to adopt, Latasha, a new mantra that says, I am an amazing writer. I am an open channel of creative energy. So, but I get it. She's saying like, I struggle with writing sometimes. So if that is where you're at in terms of supplier content, I'm not a big fan of supplier content just pushing out what they send us. I like to recraft it and say there's some amazing values with all inclusives right now. There's some amazing values with cruises right now, and put it in my own voice. And that works better than just forwarding supplier content. So what I would encourage Latasha and anyone else that is having that same kind of mindset thing to do is I want you to do more email. You need to keep practicing until you find your voice. And also, I want you to challenge that limiting belief. Like, you started a company, you own your own travel business. Of course you're creative. Of course you're an entrepreneur, right? So I want to push you on that a little bit. I know we can't get into an in-depth coaching here, but mindset is so critical as you guys grow to work past those to get things where you want them to be. And look, if you really hate doing messaging or doing copy, then you need to outsource that, right? You need to hire someone. I did it for years, and I have a whole team of people that write for me now. So it can be outsourced if you don't love it. That's another option if you just, but not loving it and not feeling like you're good at it. Sometimes they're different things. So I just want to be clear on that. And everybody ask that, for yourself, do it that I don't love it or that I feel like I have a creative block here. So, but you can repurpose supplier content, but I would prefer you put it in your own voice and own words versus just forwarding the, very salesy stuff that they send out.
Yeah, and like how you mentioned before about your personal brand, because then that wouldn't feel, and that feels very pushy. You might get some unsubscribes, so it all kind of goes hand in hand with
Yep.
those.
Yep.
Yeah, and one thing I actually thought of is one thing like for me is I always get nervous about just like my grammar or like I'm gonna have some spelling errors, things like that. And I found there's sources like Grammarly, which is really helpful, and they'll actually find they'll like say like, oh, you need a comma here, or oh, this is a long sentence, or things. So there's also things like that if anyone ever gets worried about just checking it out. Like if you're a one man show and you want to make sure you don't have anyone to check it out, then that was a thing to
Oh
think
yeah,
about
and
it.
always send your
Mhm.
emails to yourself first to proofit.
Yes.
Because when you're in writing for, you're in that creative mode and you're typing away and it looks good and it sounds good. Seems weird, but you can reread it 10 times on the screen. But then when you send it to yourself and open it as if your customer would open it, you're going to catch stuff almost every single time. So we have a policy in our company. We send it out to a team of people and everybody signs off on it and then it goes out. So I did it myself for years and we made mistakes. You're all going to make a mistake. Like, get over it, it's going to happen. But it's, just putting that one extra step in place. If you're self-auditing those things, that will help you guys too.
Yeah, and yeah, we do that too. And we also, one thing that I always forget to do is look at your phone. So check out what it looks like on your phone and if you have other devices.
Yeah, make sure it's optimized for your phone or computer because most people are pulling email on their phone these days.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, we could go on and on. We need a whole nother webinar for this. There's so many questions.
Right?
There's so many, and apologies to anyone if we didn't get to your question. But again, you will get after this the recording, but you'll also get the link on here if you want to jot it down and go to it right now. You can grab it. But I just want to thank you again, Cindy. It's always such fun times having you on our webinars, and I know our audience just learns so much. And just want to thank you again for joining us here today.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure.
Awesome. Well, and thank you so much, everyone. And have a great rest of your day and have a great rest of your week. And let's go make some cool emails.
Yeah, everybody do it.
Woo! See ya.
Bye, guys.